President Shutkin, to the board, directors, distinguished members of the faculty, the alumni who are joining us here today, to Congresswoman Pelosi, to my fellow speakers and special guests, it is an honor to be with everyone here today. A special welcome to the families and friends who are here to celebrate with their graduates. I speak for all of us, and certainly for myself when I say that we would not be here without each of you. So to my parents, to my love, and to my daughter, thank you so very much. To my fellow graduates, a very humble thanks to each of you. We would not be here without each other. Presidio taught us to lead by working collectively. We are from different cohorts. Many of you are full-time, some, like myself, are part-time. But together now, we are MBAs and MPAs, graduates of Presidio. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we are also champions of the dance-off. The judges had a pretty soft spot for an out-of-sync, in-sync Tin Man and her backup dancers. One reminder that all the MPAs and Congresswoman Pelosi will appreciate: go vote. The California primary is this Tuesday, and the polls close at 8 p.m. That is exactly 27 hours and 55 minutes before the standard Presidio assignment deadline. Unlike the Presidio deadline, late votes will not be counted. Congresswoman Pelosi, you'll be pleased to know that I've already sent in my mail-in ballot. Everyone else, you'll be amused to know that I only voted as a procrastination tool when I was facing that final last Wednesday night. I did vote for you. Now, a quick personal tale. Right out of college, when friends were heading to law school and to Wall Street, I became a whitewater raft guide. My parents patiently tried to understand what it was that I was doing. I just called it retiring first. My time on the river eventually led me here to Presidio. It was the encroachment of the oil pump jacks, ever closer to the wilderness rivers of the Colorado Plateau. Now, as Presidio alums, we would call that a market failure. And we have the economists, Pigou and Coase, to challenge our thinking about what could and should be done with our energy and climate policy. While on the river, a friend of mine shared David James Duncan's collection of essays, River Teeth, in which he describes the decomposition of trees and the unrecognizable remnants that you can find years later, worn down by the river of time. In the same way, Duncan writes, small parts of every human past resist the natural cycle. There are hard, cross-grained whorls of memory that remain inexplicably lodged in us long after the straight-grained narrative material that housed them has washed away. For us, too, much of the Presidio experience will fade, though a few kernels of knowledge will remain. So here are a few of those Presidio pearls of wisdom that we will all carry from some of our classes. Effective management and communication. Listen and say thank you. My daughter works on the exact same thing in preschool. I used her as the TA for my class. In microeconomics, we were asked the question, what is economics? The answer, drilled into our heads, was economics is the study of making choices. And at Presidio, we also learned that sustainable economics is preserving that ability to choose for future generations. In macroeconomics, we were taught the formula for GDP, which is Y equals C plus I plus G plus NX. I memorized that as, yo, can I get a new xylophone? Or, more critically, you can't ignore externalities. In leadership, we learned that you need to know who you are. In the 5 Dynamics assessment, I rank as very high excite and high explore. For you non-Presidians, basically what that means is that I have lots of great ideas. I can rally people around those ideas. I get very stressed when examining details, and I only execute at the last minute. Thankfully for me, I'm standing here today, I got to work with many of you high execute types. Thank you, those ideas got implemented. In strategy, we learned that all problems can be solved with Post-its and a Sharpie. Which reminds me, were those Post-its, do they have any certified post-consumer recycled content? And if not, that's a really good business idea. In marketing, we learned that there are really only two questions. Why? And who cares? In market failures, Ryan taught us that regulation is the sixth competitive force. If you remember the first 5 forces, you definitely got a better grade in that class than I did. Capstone, our entrepreneurial class. Basically, take all you have learned, start a new business from scratch, and go change the world. It's that easy. But fellow classmates, it will be very hard to change the world. We know that. It's why we chose Presidio. Over business as usual and over the usual business schools. We don't take one sustainability class. Every one of our classes is infused with sustainability. So as we embark on that challenge of change, I turn to the advice of the author and very irreverent Edward Abbey, who wrote these words. Do not burn yourselves out. Be as I am, a reluctant enthusiast, a part-time crusader, a half-hearted fanatic. Save the other half of yourselves and lives for pleasure and adventure. It is not enough to fight for the land. It is even more important to enjoy it, while you can and while it's still here. Enjoy yourselves, and I promise you this. I promise you this much, this one sweet victory over those desk-bound men and women with their hearts in a safe deposit box and their eyes hypnotized by desk calculators. I promise you this, you will outlive the bastards. And we will. Congratulations to my fellow classmates of the class of 2014.